everybody, we are back with another team draft preview, and this week we are doing Swaghino. And from that video, the very first one thing I did like was that 0-3 record against myself. I did like to see that, and then having a winning record against the American division. I definitely hope he keeps that trend. But then the second issue that I kind of saw that we can kind of talk about after we talk about the poll question. Is Eric the best, the best owner in LOC history? It depends. It depends on how you look at it. If you say, hey, yes, he's the best owner because he doesn't make trades and he's always competitive, then sure. But to me, if you don't win the ship, you don't get to be in the question of best owner in LOC history. And that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. So I'm not there, Swaghino's not there. So these people who are best owner, no, you don't get to be in that conversation until you win.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, 80% said no and 20% said yes. I mean, he is the best win percentage owner ever. I mean, this is his fourth season now. The way I look at it, though, too, is one thing we always have to remember is looking back at history. If you recall, he took over Mr. Longyard's team. And Mr. Longyard built one hell of a team. He did it by questionable means, got pretty much thrown out of the LOC, right?
Yep.
And because of that, Swaghino took over a good roster. But when we get into his preview here and seeing his keepers, I think he's got question marks. Chuba Hubbard, iffy at running back. James Robinson. I mean, what the hell is he? Like, he's got a major injury. DeAndre Hopkins, 6-game suspension. He doesn't even have him as keeper. Might have to still. I mean, I only really like Tyreek Hill. And, even Lamar Jackson, if you look at him at keeper, he's kind of declined because there's really no one to throw to there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think the Lamar Jackson's fair. I mean, that team is built to run the ball through Lamar Jackson. But yeah, James Robinson, NTN coming back hurts his value. Chuba Hubbard, C-Mac still there. Tyreek Hill going to Miami honestly kind of hurts his value with Tua throwing the ball. Another Lamar Jackson type. Nico Collins, why? You have to, in my opinion, you have to keep Hopkins or try to trade him. Trade him somebody. This is one of those things where I kind of wish Swaghino was a little bit more active because you got to make that trade. You cannot let him go. And I don't know why we're talking about that. But also he plays in the international division. So if he had a losing record in international division, yeah, that makes you a bad owner. But looking at the draft picks, as I said, he doesn't make any trades. So I'm pretty sure every one of his picks everyone he has are all his picks. So, he has a first through 29th, one pick in each round. What more else can you say about that?
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't trade. And I think this is an opportunity when you see Nico Collins, you see James Robinson as keepers. There's a lot of guys out there with extra players on their roster where he could improve. I mean, the architect comes to mind. Myself comes to mind. I've been shopping George Kittle. Why don't you try to come get a guy like George Kittle off me? I know there's other teams out there that have extra guys available, and we've all been posting them. So you're right. I think Swaghino could make some moves because who are you really going to get at 18? I mean, if you trade your round 1 and keep your round 2, you're still getting a decent pick at pick 23 because you're picking at the top of round 2. But if you look at that round 1, it's like, can you trade that for a good keeper for somebody who would just love to take that round 1 for a way better player than Nico Collins, obviously?
I mean, if he's set on keeping Nico Collins, I mean, he's supposed to be probably wide receiver 3 with John Mechie going there. Mechie's older. I thought Mechie was a reach in the draft, but Mechie was definitely drafted to be number 2 there. To get a better player, though, he might not have to trade, his first or second. Somebody might say, okay, I'm not built to win this year, but we already know who's going to drop. He might be able to swap, Hopkins. Like, it might not even have to trade a pick. So that's something he needs to explore as well.